Raquel Welch, you won't believe what happened next. But I'll let you in on a secret. Some actors don't just act, they rearrange the whole room. Imagine walking onto a set and suddenly forgetting your lines because the air changed. That's what she remembers. That laugh, that smirk, that tiny look that says more than a speech. Ready? Let's talk about the 6 men who stopped her mid-scene and stayed there in her memory. Raquel Welch. Picture a woman at the height of her game, walking onto sound stages where charm wasn't optional, it was the currency. She didn't mean to swoon, it just happened. She explains, it wasn't about perfect faces, it was about presence, humor when things got stiff, a dangerous edge that made you pay attention, a generosity that let the other actor shine. Those moments were small, a glance, a joke before a take, but they never left her. And yes, there were 6 of them. Burt Reynolds. Burt could walk into a dust storm and make it feel like a party. They worked together on a rough, sweaty shoot heat, chaos, a lot of gun smoke, and Burt was the spark. He was mischief that made people laugh instead of grumble. He'd crack a line at the worst moment, and suddenly the set loosened. He was loud enough to be noticed, and kind enough to make you forgive him. If a day was dragging, Burt turned it into a story you wanted to tell. He knew how to be the life of the set without stealing the scene. He brought energy and then shared it. Dean Martin Dean had a way of being effortlessly cool, like an old record you put on to feel better. On set, he moved through the world like it was a relaxed joke everyone was in on. He didn't try to dazzle, he just set the tempo. When the pressure rose, he could smooth it out with a half smile or a hum under his breath. Working with him felt like stepping into a calm current. You flowed, and the take worked. He made the craft feel easy. And there's a lesson in that. Confidence is quiet. He taught her how comfort can be as magnetic as any bravado. Frank Sinatra. Frank changed the room the minute he entered. He didn't perform charm, he carried it like an instrument. When he sang, you stopped breathing for a few measures because he had the power to make the world narrow down to that single voice. Being near him was like sitting in the eye of a storm, where everything else stills. He could cut you down with a remark and then make you love him for it. That rare mix of cut and care? It's what made him unforgettable. He was the kind of presence that made you aware of yourself in a new way. Clint Eastwood. Clint wasn't about showmanship. He was the kind of man who said less and meant a lot more. On set, he was quiet, intense. The room tightened when he was there. He showed how restraint becomes its own kind of force. With one look, he could convey years of thought. With a small gesture, he could change a scene's entire direction. Watching him was an education in understatement, economy of movement, precision of intent. He taught her that power often lives in the pause, and that's a lesson that sticks. Paul Newman. Paul had this effortless warmth that made you trust him instantly. He wasn't flashy, but he made everyone around him better just by being present. There was a gentleness to his focus. He cared about the truth of a scene, about letting his fellow actors shine. If you were nervous, Paul had a way of easing you into the work with a small joke or a quiet nod. He showed that generosity is one of the most powerful tools an actor can have. Watching him, she learned that honesty, not ornament, is what truly lasts. Sean Connery. Sean carried a kind of old-world swagger that felt like it belonged to a myth. Even without the tuxedo and the martini, he was unmistakably compelling, the very picture of calm command. He moved like a man who lived in his own center, and people immediately leaned in. He had a dry wit, precise and unexpected, that could break the tension faster than any line of dialogue. Beneath the smooth exterior, he listened, really listened, and that made others feel seen. He wasn't loud about it, he just had presence, and presence is contagious. So what ties these six together? Not looks, not really. It's a combination of confidence, timing, generosity, and a little danger. It's the ability to make the person opposite you feel alive, to turn the ordinary into something electric. For her, those moments weren't about romance as much as they were about craft, chemistry that made acting feel like real life, giving the audience something they hadn't expected. Now, imagine being the person who gets to watch that magic happen, day after day. You start noticing patterns. You learn that humor loosens a tough set. You learn that a steady quiet can ground a frantic scene. You learn that the best partners don't hog the light. They lay it out so everyone looks better. Those are the takeaways she keeps. They're not glamorous, tired stories. They're small tools that make great work possible. You might wonder, did anything ever go beyond a glance? Maybe. There were smiles that lasted too long, lines that hummed, and a handful of moments she still blushes about when she thinks of them. But mostly what she remembers are the lessons, the ways great artists make everyone around them better. That's the real charm. Not just stealing scenes, but creating moments you can't forget. So, what does this mean for you? Whether you act or just watch, pay attention. Notice the people who lift others up. Learn from them. Use humor to break tension, calm to focus chaos, and generosity to build trust. And if you ever find yourself on a set, or in a team, or in a relationship, remember, the most magnetic people aren't the loudest. They're the ones who make the room feel right. All right, if you liked hearing these backstage memories, hit like and stick around. There's more where this came from. Stories, tips, and a few more slices of old Hollywood charm. Subscribe if you want to keep hearing tales that are equal parts mischief and craft. Until next time, pay attention to presence. It tells you everything you need to know.